Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I have with me a very special guest, Oriane Juncker. How are you?
Really good, thank you, and congratulations on the pronunciation of my name.
Bienvenue, bienvenue.
Merci de me
Uh,
recevoir.
uh, uh, no problem. Uh, so, we are going to talk a little bit about your business that you started, and we're going to talk about other things that surprised me a little bit, but we will get to them. So, how are you?
Really good, really good. I'm quite excited to
Yeah.
start having a chat, but I think it's more going to be about the purpose of my business rather than
Mm,
my business itself that we're going to talk about.
mm, yeah, yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your business?
So I'm Oriane. As people may hear from my accent, I'm actually from France. I live in Australia, in the lucky country, and this is definitely a true promise for me. When we came here, we found a job, citizenship, a home, and amazing friends, and I could never go back to France after I met Australia for the first time. So I would say, a French, but from everywhere. I've lived in Canada, in England, in different places in France. So I'm a bit of an international person, I would say. When we came to Australia with my husband, we started to work in the pharmaceutical industry. So typical corporate job. I work in medical, in neuroscience mainly, on multiple sclerosis. This is quite an interesting job, but I always felt this was not my purpose. And when I got pregnant, I started to suffer some discrimination. So I was asked actually to go to my GP and ask for an exemption to be able to travel up to 36 weeks of pregnancy, when the companies normally prevent pregnant women to travel after 30 weeks. When I refused to do that because I felt like I was, so big, you don't even fit in a plane anymore. I didn't want to travel all around Australia anymore. Then it was a very difficult conversation. I was really pressured. When I came back from mat leave, I was told that when I was in mat leave, my career was in hibernation, so that I didn't deserve a promotion or salary increase, which I was definitely deserving because I was below those norm of salary. Yeah, and few things happened. My husband is working in the same company, same job as me, and he was paid 30K above me, which was pretty unfair. So there were a few things that happened, and that got really, really frustrating. So yeah, discussing with my friends, I just realized that it was not only me, but pretty much all of us. And that surprised me because we live in a developed country where normally the gender equality is supposed to be, like 50-50. And I realized that actually a lot of my friends were in the same situation as me, where it's really hard to um, find the balance between your career and also your job as a mom. And I realized that it's a struggle that is happening for pretty much everyone in the world, all the moms in the world. And there are no proper solutions at the moment. The way our world is structured, the way the corporate world is structured, doesn't really allow for a mother to be performing as well as a male, because obviously our kids are going to be sick, and very often it's the mother who will, be there for the children. You will go away in a maternity leave, you will be pregnant, so you're not as profitable and productive as a man would be. And this is what you definitely feel as a woman. And that's what I got frustrated with. And that's why I decided to create my business, because I thought if we all complain about the same things, but we don't do anything about it, then pretty much we can't complain. So that's why I decided to create my business, which is all about gathering moms in Australia so that we can create a strong community to support each other, but mainly to discuss what we want to see change in our society, and have and use the power of our number to be able to influence policymakers. so that we can create a more mom-friendly society. So it's really all about making a difference for the future.
Yeah, so making a difference for the future through taking care of our most precious asset as a society, I think, which which the state still needs to produce a number of, you know, a nice exchange rate, shall we say, between those who are gone and those who are coming into the world. Um, and so, can you talk about why in the first place, if we're not financiers or economists, but we can you try to pinpoint the source of why there is this kind of a um, I don't know, maybe economic discrimination against mothers, or the stigma of working mothers. Where does it
So I
stem?
Yeah, so I love what you said about the fact that we are the sort of like a very precious resource for a government, and I think they don't realize that because we're making the future generation, and the whole economy is like going to be built from those generations. So if you don't support moms, I guess they can't raise their children properly, and they can't raise children that are going to be contributing to that society. So I really think that the support from the government needs to happen, because we are not just a problem at an economical level the way they see it in a short-term manner. So obviously when you're working in a company, you as a mom, you're going to be pregnant, so you might be a bit more sick, you might not be able to work as much as before. So obviously it creates constraints that your male partner won't have. So you can't be as productive in the way the corporate world sees it. And then when you go in maternity leave, it's quite complicated because you need to replace that person for a short period of time. So it's tricky. You need to to train someone else for that short period, because then when the mother comes back, she wants to take her role back. So this is complicated for corporate to manage all those changes. And then usually you have that second child coming, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 years later down the track. So it's another, back and forth for the corporate. So that's usually what is a problem. Then when you have children, you have to take care leaves quite regularly, because every time your child has a little cough, you can't put them in daycare, so you have to look after them. And quite often, even if it's not always the case, obviously it's the mother who is taking that role. So that's why for corporate it's obviously much more complicated to manage a mother coming back, leaving and being pregnant, than just a male counterpart who's just going to kind of have that very straight line in terms of career. So I understand short term, it can be a bit of a management and a bit of a problem. But the thing is that we are raising the future generation, and the economy relies on those children. So I think we have to see with a more open eye mothers, rather than just seeing us as a liability in a company.
Yeah. Now I think the postmodern world is heading towards a very great discovery that time is precious, and human beings are meant to be around other people. We are tribal, socially tribal people. We evolved from what was essentially small tribes that were scattered all across the globe. Um, we cannot live without other people around us. Now the business has melded together into the private life, into the home. So now we're talking about something else, which is a meta workplace. It's not a physical place anymore. So maybe physical foundations will start to shut down.
Yeah, it is definitely
Yeah.
something that I see happening already. Like I work in a big pharmaceutical corporate, and we have like, I think the company built a massive building, like 6-story, huge one, state of the art, and no one has been there for the past year and a half. And I think no one will ever go back, because I think people staying at home, being with their family, we're seeing life in it with a different angle, which is, my God, what a ridiculous life it was to spend 2 hours in the car every day when you just drain, to go to your corporate job and not see your children the whole day. So you have to pay daycare to look after your children while you're working in that corporate building, when actually we realize we can work very productively and very well from our homes. So yeah, it is obviously a different way of doing things. And I think people will never go back to work 5 days a week from, 9 to 5 in Australia, I would say, in average. I think it's not an option anymore. And if I had to do it again, I would refuse and probably resign, because no, this is so much better to see my children here and there during the day. So much better to wake up like in the morning without an alarm clock, because your first meeting start around 9, so you can chill, wake up before you had to rush. You had to buy a car, quite a nice car, to go to work. You had to dress up fancy, put your makeup on, and wear your heels and go to work. Now I can pretty much have my meetings with my pajama, and no one sees beyond the top of
Or
my chest.
yeah, or you can see sit in your car in the garage with nice clothes on. Well,
And
well,
enjoy my ride in my garage. Yeah,
no,
but I
no,
think people.
while doing the meetings. So,
Yes.
so
Yeah, I think what happens a lot is that people go around with their phone and walk around in the parks and things like that. It's much more enjoyable than being sitting in a concrete building all day. So yeah, I really saw a big difference in my quality of life in terms of not going to work. But the problem is that, yeah, as you were saying earlier, it's completely mixing with my personal life.
yeah.
Now I feel like I can't even have lunch, because at any time someone's going to call me, someone's going to go on Zoom and just ask me to be there, like it feels hard to just dissociate. But I think it's just the beginning for everyone to understand how it works, and we will find good ways to work around that. And yeah, we're just in a trial period at the moment.
Yeah, I feel as though even though we will walk outside more and we'll go to the parks and we'll eat ice cream and hot dogs and whatever, we'll watch the ducks on the pond, ducks, yeah, quack quack. Um, when they just want to be clear, yeah, yeah. So I have a theory that even though we are talking to people all day, we are talking to a screen. Here, this is the screen. Yeah, it moves, it wobbles, it's not real. Um, and I feel that it is a very worrying, shall we say, phenomenon that human beings are sitting their life away at a screen and not with other
Yeah.
human beings. Human beings were meant to be around each other, to tell stories, to play with each other, to try to tease each other, uh, to try to connect with each other through different ceremonies and stuff like this. And the social fabric of humanity, the social, shall we say, the social unifying principle is starting to break away at the seams. So, what do you think about this phenomenon?
I think that we are creating a new reality, and that really asks the questions of, what is the reality? Is it what you've got in front of your eyes? Because like the reality is something very subjective, and we tend to say what I see is real. But for example, if you've got images that go very fast in front of your eyes, you will say, no, there wasn't I don't know, whatever, a horse in those images, but it's just because your eyes weren't able to process all the images as fast as the images were coming up. So your reality is like, no, there wasn't a horse, but your eyes are a filter to the reality. So I think it really, that conception of, us creating a new world, which is more digital now, it might be a reality. It might be the reality, but maybe we're not able to perceive it yet. Maybe our physical sense are not able to grab that. So, but yeah, it's a very metaphorical discussion, I guess, that could go around, like, we can go much further. But I think reality is just a concept that we think in our 3D world. But if you were living in another dimension, the reality would be completely different. So I only believe what I can see is a bit of, for me, of a stupid concept. It's really being closed-minded, because yeah, the reality is evolving every day, and I think, yeah, we are not understanding and grabbing the concept yet of what we are doing now with the digital world, where everything, like the AI, is taking control of so many things. I was working in research in neuroscience at the time on the decision making process. And I remember that guy was like 10 years ago, and he was telling me he was creating a code that was evolving by itself. He was not even controlling the initial code, IT code he created. And it was evolving like a virus would, change its receptors to adapt, its external environment. And he was telling me he could not control what he had created. And it was 10 years ago. So I can't imagine what is happening behind the scene. We have no idea about. But I think the reality, the way we believe it exists, has probably gone away a long time ago.
Yeah, so on that depressive note, we will stop here, and I think we'll pick it up another time.
Thanks a lot, Guy. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of conversations about stuff like this, and some even more interesting, or I don't know, developed subjects.
I'd like that, Guy.
Bye. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Oriane.
Bye, everyone.
Hello.
Good.
Bye.